Welcome back to Artificial Antics, where Rico and Mike will talk about the implications and opportunities around artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. In today's episode, titled, All We Wanted to Do Was See Darth Vader and Christopher Walken in a Bar Fight, the guys will be testing out an AI video generation and editing tool called Pictory.
What's up, everybody? This is Mike from Artificial Antics. I got my co-host Rico here. Rico and I have been doing a little more antics than artificial intelligence for the last 5 minutes here. Getting stoked for this episode of the show. We're going to be talking about text to media, really particularly text to video and media with Pictory, which is a product that is a competitor to Canva. And it's pretty interesting. And we're going to be demoing it, playing around with it in the lab, right? And so, Rico, one of the things I was looking at AI news, and man, I'm telling you, it's moving super fast. We all know that. Anything interesting on your radar tonight?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, you and I both have a fondness for gaming, right? It's got a special place in our heart. I found out that there's actually an AI company called Speechly who has been around, I think, since 2016 is when their inception was. But their aim is to use AI or use AI tools to help make a safer space and have some kind of, applications working with gaming companies. So they've paired with Roblox to create a safer environment. So what that's going to do is chat moderation, lobby moderation, that type of thing. But what it made me think of was just back on August 31st, Call of Duty actually implemented something like that. And I think they're called Modulate AI. I think it was the name of their company, right? ToxMod is the name of their product. Yeah, it's modulate.ai. And they're going to start policing lobbies and voice comms in the game using AI tools that will automatically
So Rico, you've been banned since August 31st.
Yes,
that's basically the tell. Because I play with you. I play Call of Duty with you.
Come on.
You're listen. Well, here's the thing, though, dude. So, and I know you're about to get into this, but I also kind of want to mention here. I think about this, and I think, you're doing it in fun, right? You're goofing off. Right. We're all laughing,
saying stupid things to people
all the time, right? Like, I mean, I don't do it nearly as much as you do it, but I definitely do it too. Yes. And the thing is, ever since you told me about this story, I've been a little more reserved, at the end of those matches. And so it's even in the beginning and the end, and so has everyone else. And I think to myself, wow, toxicity, sure, I get it, right? But the fact of the matter is, I know it's just you and I, and I'm sure nobody else in the world likes toxic gaming, but you and I kind of sort of enjoy that element, right? Like
Rust, Call of Duty, any of those games. Yes,
dude.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know what Rust is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like talking smack, playing around and just messing with people a little bit just to see if you get a bit of a rise out of them, right? It's hilarious, right? It leads to some really hilarious results.
Fun death comms,
right. Fun death comms, exactly. And basically, folks, for folks that don't know what that means, is death comms is like, okay, so we're going, I kill somebody in Call of Duty, right? And they whatever they said right after I kill them, it comes through to my speakers, so I can hear what they said, and it's hilarious. I mean,
it's always funny.
It's always funny, right? Exactly. And so. Rico, I'll let you keep going with your point, but I just wanted to mention that really quick because it was something that I noticed myself doing right after you mentioned that.
And ultimately, that's what it's going to do. It's changing player behavior. It's a positive thing, but I think it's a double-edged sword. And my points to bring both the articles forward. Roblox is more of a kids game. I know there are people who are older that I'm not overly familiar with it. So from a safety standpoint, it's great because moderators can't catch everything, right? And hate speech is obviously a problem nowadays. Yes. And, children do play these games, whether they should or not. You have a bunch of different age groups that are playing those games, and the moderators can't be everywhere all the time. So if they use the AI to cut out things like hate speech, racist speech, any of the protected speeches, that are out there that shouldn't be in the sure. But the issue that I take with it is the fact of now you're being policed by AI. It may just be video games, but that opens a door, right? And it's a very slippery slope down to, like, remember Demolition Man? We talk about that movie oftentimes. And if anybody has not seen Demolition Man from the late 90s, there's actually a system in the future that every time you curse, every time you say something that's not allowed, you get a fine. And it spits it out from this machine that looks like a hand dryer to me.
Right.
I didn't see in a bathroom, but that's the point. So it's interesting. I like to see that AI, again, we talk, we're going to talk later in the episode about collaboration between AI companies, but being policed by AI this early on, it'll be interesting to see how many people get player bans just simply based upon their speech. And if they take it to the point of death comms and that type of thing, because ultimately people are alone in their home, or, you're in your household and what you say in your own home is whatever. But if you can't control your temper and you say the wrong thing, then you may be banned from Call of Duty. So
yeah, no, for sure. And there are a couple things to note here. One, I was thinking about something the other day. I was watching something on one of the business podcasts that I listened to, and they were talking about the Hawthorne effect. Do you know what that is?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. So basically the Hawthorne effect is the act of being observed changes your behavior. Right.
Oh, okay.
For better, for worse. Right. It isn't always for better. It isn't always for worse. And so the fact of the matter is, though, it changes your behavior. So, and the thing is, they've done a whole bunch of studies on how to mitigate the effect of this in UX and whatnot, because we know the world, right, is going to a more, let's say, observed state of being, right?
Yes,
like,
it seems
clearly,
to be, for sure.
Since 2000, we're more observed than we used to be, right? Like
you can't go anywhere without being on the camera.
And so nowadays, though, even more so, right, with AI tooling coming in and whatnot, you're seeing this, right? So it's sort of like the old joke of, oh, I've got my recorder here, that's recording everything with my phone, but and people joke about that, but like, now it's like very clear and in your face with this. It's like, no, you are being watched. You are being moderated, and the thing is, like, I agree, like certain hate speech and whatnot. Like I get that, like that to me, that feels like, all right, that makes more sense. But like, people just say a lot of goofy stuff that isn't necessarily hate speech, that is aggressive. Right. And I do not think that you should be banned for all of that, right? Like, I mean, there's an element of smack talk, right? And if I were swearing, I'd say another thing, right? It's literally just part of the game. It's part of the experience, right? And
and you and I both know, we've been in lobbies where the wrong thing has been said.
Oh, of course, many
times. And what do? Oftentimes, what people do, and of course, there's a juvenile element to the game where there's a lot of teenagers in there, and they kind of go along with it. But then you'll have some that actually will be heavy-handed and say, "Hey, that's not the right thing to say. You shouldn't say that." And that's what AI is going to do here, is it's going to moderate that for them. So yeah, it may save some jobs, or not really save jobs, I guess, but it may save some money by not needing people to review that type of thing when it's reported. But it'll be interesting to see what words they actually include in that. Because let's face it, there are some curse words that are like lower tiered curse words that aren't exactly hate speech, that if you got banned off of a game you just paid $60 or $70 for, because you're in your home alone and lost your temper, one time. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the player base does with that. It really will be, because I know it's already a struggling a game because of streamers and what they like to see versus the player base itself. Right. So yeah, this is just another thing it'll be a catalyst to see what happens. So anyway, the point I just wanted to make was being policed by AI is now becoming a thing. I think we're going to see it in other applications in the future. But now Roblox and Call of Duty are two, pretty big games that are out there. Yeah.
Roblox. I mean, that's like, kids play it, adults play it, whatever. Sure. And same with Call of Duty, right? Like, and we're going to probably see it in more games as well. Very interesting stuff that's come up in the news with that. At the Roblox thing, I wasn't on my radar. And really, like, thinking about companies that build their whole presence around doing this type of moderation, right? Like, what was the one you said was called?
Moderation? It's Modulate. Yeah, Modulate.ai.
I mean, it was like, whoa, I was like, yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Just like any other, niche, right? Like, this is a very niche thing, and it's going to be something that we'll see more and more of, right? And so, yeah, one quick thing I want to mention, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but one of the news things that I've seen recently, it's been on my radar for a while, and we've talked about it a little bit, is Microsoft Office 365, the Copilot, which is all of the AI-enabled features. These are things like being able to talk to your spreadsheet and get like quick data and stuff, like a lot faster than, building queries or formulas, right?
Right.
That is getting closer and closer to being available for more companies, more people. Right now, I think that it's just available to 600 companies, and unfortunately, my company is not one of them. And
Right.
we're on the waiting list. We're on the waiting list. But they were talking about the demand and everything for it. And so they're getting there, right? And
Sure.
we talked about it on one of our other news segments, but OpenAI also now has like the enterprise version of it. So, and I'm on that waiting list as well. We'll see who gets back. No, for us, right? We use Office 365 already, and it's like we were talking about what we could share with AI, what we can't, whatever. And the reality is, it's like the ideal situation is that you're already in the tool where the data exists, and you just like query the data. You know what I mean? Like talk to it. So with these LLMs and whatnot. So that's the ideal situation, because sure, people say, oh, well, it's a third party. Maybe they're using some, but really no. Like Microsoft owns part of OpenAI. Like there's a whole thing. It is what it is. Like it's already
business.
there, right? It's already there, right? So
Collaborations.
so that exactly. And we're talking about collaborations with OpenAI and Canva, right? So OpenAI built a Canva plugin that supported with the ChatGPT Plus account. Another one that we were talking about recently too, funny enough, with Canva as well, they're kind of all over the place, right? Is HeyGen. So that's text to video, and Canva and HeyGen have teamed up, right, to give some of those features across the lines of the two products. So we'll get into the episode now, folks. So we're going to be talking about text to video with Pictory, and we're just going to dive right in. Excellent. All right. So you go ahead. You've got the wheel there, and let's see what she can do. This is something that our good buddy Matt Wolf from Future Tools suggested, and he played around with a little bit. I thought it was kind of interesting. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and walk through Pictory. And for our audio only listeners, we've got a special version of this where we're going to basically do a recap for you. Rico and I in the lab on video really did a lot of experimentation live, and we realized that once we were cutting up the episode, it just wasn't exactly right for audio. So y'all get a special version. We're going to walk through everything from pricing to the good, the bad, and the ugly of Pictory specifically. And then we're also going to talk about some other text to video products. So Rico, let's actually walk through pricing first, and then we'll walk through and get a take on each of the specific features of Pictory.
All right. So we discussed it a little bit, of course, in the video recording of this, but to go over some of the pricing, one thing we did enjoy with Pictory is that you can make 3 videos for free, and it doesn't take any of your, I guess we call them tokens, but it doesn't take away from the 3 videos that you have left just because you've actually created a video. Yeah, so like we said, Mike, on the website itself, there's 3 tiers of the premium that you can purchase. One being the standard, which is $19 a month, offers there's a range of things here, like 1.5 million story block visuals, 30 videos a month, up to 10 minutes text to video, 10 hours of video transcription a month, customize and save 3 brand templates, 5,000 music tracks, 34 AI voices, and the video format in 16:911 and 916. And then if you go up to the premium version, it's $39 a month. And there's actually a slider here that you can slide up from 60 videos a month upwards to 220
Nice.
a month. Yeah, and it kind of changes the services and what you get with each one. So folks can check that out at pictory.ai if they're curious. That's the $39 a month for the premium there. And then of course teams, so if you're working with a team of people, that's $99 a month. And again, same slider starting from 60 videos a month upward to 240.
I would agree. Another quick thing related to those sliders that you're talking about, Rico, from what I remember, and this is off the top of my head, but basically you could choose kind of there's a balance between the number of videos and the length of the videos, right? So if you wanted like a lot of videos, they would have to be a little shorter, right? And I forgot what the specifics were. We don't necessarily need to put that in, but if you have them, in front of you now, we could probably let people know a base sample.
Yeah, so most people will be using the premium version. Not a lot of people are going to be working with teams with this. So we'll go to the top end. Again, $39 a month for the premium, 220 videos a month. And that changes the time of the video. So you'll be able to create each video of up to 5 minutes on the top end of 220. But if you're only making 60 videos a month, you can do 20-minute videos for each. That was the difference.
Right. That's what I remembered. Yeah, it was something. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, so a lot of flexibility there, folks. I think is really the main thing, and so as Rico said, it's not something I don't think we're going to actually subscribe to, but it's something that may be completely valid for your use cases, right? And then so some of the features that they have, folks, they had script to video. So this is basically, it's text to video. So you put in a script. We put in, one of these scripts from a story that we're writing, and we wanted to see how it did with that. They also have article to video. So we put in a blog post of mine into the article to video. And then there was the, edit video using text. So this is basically similar to like Descript, where you're instead of editing the timeline of a video, you're kind of editing using the script of the video. So you can like kind of edit the text, delete words, add words, etc. It's kind of a neat way to edit. I found that it's a little inferior in my mind to what Descript. Well, the whole program itself is very inferior to Descript in my mind, but it's a neat way to edit for sure. And then they also have visuals to video. So this would be like you set, like a few frames of something. And this is kind of what the episode's named after, right? Hey, we just wanted to see, Darth Vader and Christopher Walken in a bar fight. Well, I had like 4 pictures that depicted a few frames of that scene, and we were trying to turn it into a video. What it really gave us kind of was more of a slideshowy video. Right. It didn't really do much on the way of transition, and so Rico, do you have any? I want to get your thoughts too on script to video. What did you like about it? What did you not think was not so great about it?
So I guess like with most of our experiments here in the lab, we don't always know what to expect, right? So, we kind of had an idea that it would be similar to other text to video that we've tried in the past. There was that one that we had used a while back where I gave it a prompt of like, a car, a street, I think it was sun setting in the neighborhood, that type of thing. And it gave like a 4-second video where the camera kind of panned down the street and showed the sunset. So that's what we had expected here. So of course, when we put that in, like you said, it made more of a slideshow of things with some stock footage or something like stock footage in the background for the scene. One thing I did like about the script to video was that it did match up relatively well with the series of words that it chose, with happy, smile, those type of things.
Right.
It did find videos that were relatively close to what we were describing in the prompt there. So I was pretty impressed with that. Their stock footage was good. It wasn't bad overall. It just didn't really hit the mark for what we thought it was going to do for us. So on the article to video, again, we talked about seeing some of that online with people summarizing videos using that type of technology. And of course, taking your Medium article. So if anybody hasn't been to Mike's Medium website, we should see that. We'll put that in the show notes so you can go there and kind of check out some of the things he's doing there. But yeah, the music to that was kind of on point, so it did really well with it. The imagery wasn't bad. I can't remember. I don't think we didn't have the issue with the text boxes with that, did we?
No, I think that one was fine. The article, the video was okay. You could definitely tell that it's AI. And one thing that we'll mention a little further down too is they do have voiceovers. We didn't find them to be very great overall, right? So that was, I think, a shortcoming of that area as well. Really, all areas.
And for, anybody who's checked out Canva so far, canva.com, we found that the UI or the interface of it was very similar to Canva, if not almost identical to Canva as far as inputting elements. So if you weren't pleased with your article to video, you could change each one of the slides. You could swap stuff out, change the music, that type of stuff. But
Right.
like Mike said, the AI generated voices were horrific. I guess they're nowhere close to 11 Labs or Hey Jen or any of those others that we've used before. We didn't play too much with the edit video using text because, again, it wasn't exactly what we were looking to do with it, but we did try it out. And of course, we did not get to see Darth Vader fight Christopher Walken, which we need to make happen.
We definitely did not get to see it in an animated way, right? Like where, Vader's throwing a punch or whatever. The pictures for folks at home that are just listening, I had, kind of both of them start out in the bar. They're across the table from the other. Vader kind of is getting up in that first pose. And the second one, he's sort of swinging, and Walken is sort of like ducking or whatever. And so it's just 4 pretty basic frames. I just wanted to see what would happen, right? And to your point, Rico, earlier in the episode, we were talking about how it could be deceiving, right, about the capabilities of AI. And so people are, is that AI? Is that AI?
Right.
And there's some real telltale signs of AI and deepfakes. And also, it's not simplistic generally to generate what you'd be talking about with like these movies and things like that. There's some easy ways to do it that create a great demo, but overall, I think about ChatGPT and how I could sort of dream something and it can create something very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The text to video is not like that, right? We're not quite there yet to that same level of just like I can dream it and it's there. Similar to like Midjourney and image generation. They're much better and much further along than text to video in my mind.
Definitely.
Text to video, like you said, Rico, Runway ML is one of the ones that will create those 4-second clips based on an image and a prompt. And there's some other ones as well. Runway is pretty good, but it's still, not great, right? You could definitely tell that it's like, okay, this is cool. And how people are making movies is they'll actually generate, well, just consider the math, right? However many 4-second clips or whatnot to create their movie. It's painstaking. It's a real process. It is probably quite a bit cheaper than making a real movie, though. All things considered here.
Right. And most of that technology is probably even non-deterministic, right? As we've said before, that even though they're using the same inputs in the prompt as far as maybe their description of the character or the scene itself, it would still be incredibly time consuming.
My God, Tommy, what have you been reading? Sorry, folks. Rico just mentioned that non-deterministic, which we explained in a previous episode.
A couple of them, I think. Yeah,
a couple of them. Yeah. So deterministic basically means for the same set of inputs, you're going to get the exact same outputs. Non-deterministic is exactly the opposite of that, where you're not going to. It's very unlikely that you'll get the same outputs, right? And so tools like Midjourney and really a lot of these generative AI, even the chat stuff in ChatGPT, if you put in the same prompt and you hit that chat button or generate button twice, it's very unlikely you'll get the exact same thing. You might get something similar, you probably will, but you won't get the exact same thing, right? So that's non-deterministic.
And we've seen the challenges with generative art so far, just making, still photos, right? When we did with Lily in the Kindness Kingdom, trying to get her characters to be the same way in Midjourney. And then we had to kind of find the seed number, and that number was high, and then keep inputting that. And, it's always a trial and error thing. So, to Mike's point, if you think you're going to take a prompt and go ahead and create a 22-minute episode on something or a full feature film based on your prompts, I hope you're ready for a reality check, because it's just not going to happen. So.
Right, exactly. Now, Rico, I think we covered enough on Pictory.
Sure.
Let's talk about some of the other text to media tools.
Yeah.
We'll focus heavily here on text to video because that's kind of what the episode's about. Text to media would be text to audio, text to other creative text, and then also text to video. Some of the text to video products that we've looked at, Rico, and tested are HeyGen. You want to give folks a little idea of what HeyGen does?
Yeah, so HeyGen is more of an avatar-driven one, right? So a lot of them are, but at least what we did with HeyGen, one of the things we did with it was we gave an app. You pick an avatar, you pick a voice for that avatar, and then you ask it to explain something. So, say if you were going to make a commercial or maybe an introduction to your podcast or something like that, we did some ridiculous thing that's actually on TikTok. If you want to check it out there, that just says that. Artificial Antics podcast, Mike and Rico helped this guy buy his first boat or something like that, something ridiculous. But, his mouth moves with the words that we put in there. The voice we chose was one that we customized. And the other HeyGen thing I think we did, right, was yours, where Mike actually, this was great because he was working on this individually and we were discussing it. And then Mike sends me this link and here's Mike, everybody knows what Mike looks like and sounds like. And then Mike speaks in English. And then a couple of seconds later in the video, Mike starts speaking perfect German and his mouth was moving with the German. It was a fantastic time for the show. It was like, an area we had not gotten into yet, but it also showed us that, you could break down some of these barriers to getting your podcast or your information out there and reach a further audience. And there were a lot of languages to choose from there. So they have some really cool things happening at HeyGen. The only one I've really toyed with was just the avatar one, but Mike has tried the other. And what's the term for that, Mike, I guess? As far as
it'd be like internationalization, right?
Okay.
Or video translation. And the big thing here, right, is a lot of programs will translate the voice, right? Like even some of the automated stuff, I think on YouTube will do that. But the fact that, as Rico said, my lips were moving as if I were sprechen die Deutsch, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it was really impressive. And the reason I chose German, they have 28 languages, I believe. But the reason I chose German is because I knew Rico had lived in Germany for a bit and kind of understood, at least some German, right? You could gauge this. And you gave me all positive feedback on that, right? So that was pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah, it was pretty cool because they also used language from, the area that I lived in there. They say tschüss for goodbye. Tschüss. So it's not just like a conversational German or, something like that. It's come a long way. So if you haven't checked that out, folks, take a look at our TikTok. Did you post it it might be on our YouTube as well.
It's definitely on the YouTube as well. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was part of the cool thing, some of the things we've done with HeyGen so far, in looking at Pictory, it had more of a feel to me like slides.ai that you and I had discussed before, where you create a whole slideshow or like a PowerPoint type presentation based upon a prompt, which is great if that's what you're looking to do. The unfortunate part for us in this experiment is that's not what we were looking to do. We didn't want Lily and the Kindness Kingdom to end up being a bunch of stock footage with some wording over the top. And even though we did add in, our own little flair with Brian's voice, that we got from 11 Labs, it still didn't meet the mark. So, I guess if you wanted some moving pictures, you could use this in place of it. But slides.ai, that's what it kind of felt like to me. And if anybody hasn't checked out slides.ai so far, what do you do there is you just enter a prompt of what you're trying to create for a presentation, and the AI will automatically create those slides for you. It will add stock art and all that stuff, even the wording on each one of the slides. So it's something to be checked out. But that's what it felt like to me. And you checked out another one, didn't you, Mike?
Yeah, I checked out a couple of other ones here, like in my, actually, it was really in my journey to HeyGen. I was looking for like creating like video from text with avatars, either a pre-made avatar of myself or like others. And I started with just, the canned avatars that these programs had. So one of the ones I tried out was deepbrain.io. That one was pretty good. It was similar to HeyGen. I'd say it wasn't as impressive to me, quite as impressive as Hey Gen. Another one that I tried out that was pretty good too was Synthesia. And this is synthesia.io. We'll have that in the show notes for you folks, right? Again, similar to Hey Gen, not in my mind wasn't, exactly the best one for it. And then, of course, ultimately, I landed on Hey Gen, and I was just like, wow, this could do a lot, right? It does it very well. And I was super impressed with it. Another competitor that's similar to Pictory is InVideo, like IN, and then the word video.io. Now, honestly, like I tried it out. I spent probably 15, 20 minutes with it. It wasn't quite as impressive as Pictory. I think Pictory is like decent for what it is. It's just what it is not really the type of stuff that we're looking for. One thing that I like, slides.ai, you were talking about that a few minutes ago. One thing I think that I really liked about that one is that made it would export to PowerPoint, right?
Right.
Which I'm not sure that these other ones really do that. So I thought that was great.
Right. And like you said with Pictory.ai, they're doing some things right. It's just not there, right? They're not excellent overall.
Right.
And I guess, you're talking about these other AIs that you tried. Is Vader going to fight Walken like anytime soon, or?
That actually just depends on how much time I want to spend on it. I think I could, honestly, I tried it in Runway ML, and it was more impressive than the stuff that we had in Pictory. It at least tried to do the transition, although I will say, I think I tried the same 4 images, and really only 2 of them transitioned well. Like, it was like Vader's punch. After that, it pretty much just said, I'm going to do the slides thing that these other ones are doing, right? But it was decent. I think if I had more clips, like more frames, I think it would probably do a better job.
Yeah. You saw the clips I had sent you the other night too, right? From Genmo. Did you mention that one?
Genmo, no, totally didn't mention that one. Is that the one that was the sunshine on the street and all that? Or
no, this was actually one I found the other night I was playing with. It's Genmo, GENMO.ai. And it what they tote, what their headline is that they create videos, images, and 3D objects with AI. So in that case, and interestingly enough, because we just talked about in our last, I think we did an AI bite on it about being policed by AI, right? So there's already some guardrails in place here, because what I was looking for was just simply a dog reading a book in a smoking jacket, smoking a pipe, right? Like the classy, old guy, den type feel to it.
For sure.
And it would not allow me because I put smoking a pipe, and you wouldn't think that a pipe would be inappropriate, but I guess there is some age restriction maybe to tobacco products or, depicting it or the use of. So it would not allow me to do that, but the prompt that I gave it was create a video of a dog reading a book in a red velvet chair wearing a smoking jacket, and it did accept that one. And I think the video was maybe 3 to 4 seconds long, just like the other one we had discussed. The dog slightly moves. It's very cartoony. It's very cool. It's similar to what we saw in other generative art that we've used before with Midjourney or Bing's AI. But again, you're getting like 3 to 4 second video. The eyes are a little bit wonky as the dog moves its head. Again, Vader will not be fighting Walken anytime soon, but I'm definitely going to feed it that prompt and see what it comes out with. It'd be a very short bar fight, right? 3 to 4 seconds. So.
Yeah, and that's all you need. I just want to see like one person throwing a punch and then the other person falling over, and like, that's it. That's all I wanted, right? So. Oh wait,
well, I can't. I can share the screen so you can see it, but people aren't going to see it on the audio version. But this was the that's what it did. The prompt I gave it for the Vader thing was to create a video Darth Vader in a bar fight with Christopher Walken. And for those who can't see this, obviously in the audio version, it's just a funny looking version of Vader slightly twisting at the waist, backwards. There is no Christopher Walken. There is no bar. There is no fight. It's just
There is no building, or like maybe that is the building, but that's like it looks like he's under one of the starships. Like that's pretty hilarious, man. Like that's
sure.
So yeah, that this folks for the folks who can't see this, you know that this did definitely miss the mark. So
Yep. So we won't be seeing those two fight anytime soon unless we find something this week and revisit it.
right, excellent. All right, well, yeah. So I think that's it for this. We're gonna go ahead and wind down. Any closing thoughts, Rico, on Pictory, text to video in general?
No, I will say that, you know, if Pictory, anybody from Pictory does watch our YouTube, you know, our video version of this, yeah, we were kind of harsh on your application overall. Don't mean anything by it. I really hope to see those things improve. And again, I think what we're going to see a lot of in the future is going to be collaborations with folks who do things very, very well, collaborating with others who, you know, are doing other parts of it well. And the collaboration between the two will make a better product. So I would like to see their AI voices improve, obviously. Yeah, Pictory.ai. Good luck to you. We'll revisit you hopefully in a few months and see where you guys have gone.
Excellent. I would just echo what Rico said about the voices. Really, the one thing that like surprised me was just how bad the voices were. Right, like every one of them sounded like AI, and I would just challenge Pictory to do better. You know, maybe collaborate with 11 Labs or another provider, because AI voice is definitely evolving, and I think that would be a really good benefit of you know, Pictory if you add, you know, updated those voices.
Yeah, with their slides, if you're having it give a presentation for you, and the narration is going to be a very important portion of that, especially to go with the video. So yeah, exactly.
And it also it really, like, I think about how what we end up doing, folks, to get around this was we actually used a voiceover from 11 Labs and imported it into Pictory. And I will say, I appreciated them having that feature. I think that's a great feature. So it's not like this is insurmountable. I think the product is absolutely usable and beneficial in its current state, and I'm interested to see what they do next.
Definitely.
It's kind of like doing cartoon art, right? Like you have your initial one, your different sprites, and you're tweening between, you know, the different frames. And so it's going to be similar to that, honestly. I'm sure that the more frames you have, right, the less it has to fill in, hence the better it can do, right? So my point is that I can't give it 4 images and say, hey, create that as an awesome movie, and like it just doesn't, right? Like it just did not do that. Yep.
Right. Yeah, so there you have it, folks. There's Pictory AI. It was a fun experiment, as most experiments in the lab are, but kind of underwhelming. They have some areas to improve upon. Definitely their voice stuff, and you know, overall, it seems relatively easy to use. As far as their AI speech, you know, the text to speech, not really great there. You can definitely tell it's AI, and we kind of thought that there would be more text to video type options there. I could definitely see some applications, you know, with Pictory.ai, but I think they have a bit of work to do. That's all. So, you know, fun to check it out here in the lab. But what do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I would agree with all of that, and I think that I think, you know what I think, Rico? I think they are trying to compete in a world where every tool does a lot of things. They do a lot. So if you look at the bullet items of the things that they do, they show a lot of things. What they don't do, I don't think, is anything excellently.
Right.
And
they're not.
They don't have to me, they don't have a competitive advantage. They have a list of things, and you know what? Honestly, folks, like it's hard, right? Like I look at like even great tools that people love, like ones that I use all the time, like Runway and different stuff, and all of it, they have their shortcomings, and they're all the worst that they'll ever be today. So they're all getting better. Pictory is going to get better too. I think that they've done some great things. I think it has some serious rough edges. That the AI voice was probably the one thing that turned me off the most. You know, I thought to myself, like, gosh, there are much better options, right? Like, I think if they collaborated with 11 Labs or
HeyGen, 11 Labs,
yes, exactly. Now, what's interesting is that HeyGen and one of Pictory's competitors, Canva, actually did do a collaboration, because this type of stuff is like, if you could do it and you can collab and stay in your lane and do it really well, and then Canva can do its thing well, and HeyGen does its thing well, but they both work together. That's huge, right? Same with ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT OpenAI just released a plugin for Canva, right? Which you can actually build out your Canva slides and get ideas and stuff instead of going and pasting back and forth. It's a plugin, and Rico and I are going to play around with that a little bit too. That's not really text to video, but we're going to do an AI bite on that. And so I think that, a big part of this industry, right, is really teaming up with other people that have their niches and something that's complementary to what you're doing, right? And then you collaborate, right? And everybody wins. And I feel like for audio, like text to speech, 11 Labs, I'll tell you what, here's a challenge. Show me something that's better than 11 Labs for text to speech. I can't wait to hear the answers on that one. I'm excited to get feedback, because even if something even comes close but has some additional functionality that 11 doesn't have, like, I'd be very surprised. I mean, 11 Labs is just so good. It's so good that I'd pay for it and then use it to import the text and do all the work of syncing and everything else, because the voice is so good in 11 Labs.
It's that good. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So folks, if you want to reach out to us, we're at antics.tv. Please check us out on all of our socials, interact with them, like and subscribe, share it with a friend. We would love to hear what you think about the podcast. If you'd like to hear more or see more on any topic that we've covered so far, or you want to see us cover a new topic of something you're interested in, please reach out to us. So again, antics.tv. We are Artificial Antics. I am Rico, and Mike.
Yeah, I think that I pretty much said as much as I need to say, Rico. Looking forward to seeing everybody back in the lab soon. And we're out.
Antics, baby.